Okay, good morning again, and thanks for the question. I think first and fundamentally, the issue of the Dangote refinery was not properly reported. And because of the way it was reported, it gave Nigerians the expectation that the prices will increase. The prices will come down. There are certain things that are outside the scope of any refinery when it comes to the price of the distilled products, the distillates. The most important component in terms of the factor that has the most significant price in the metrics is the crude oil itself. And crude oil pricing is quite universal, not because it's a commodity. So to that extent, when the reportage was going on with respect to the Dangote refinery and what it will have for Nigerians, for some reason, people did not do the research well. The information was not verified. And the business people who stood to benefit from the populist views of that did not think it was necessary for them to correct that notion. So basically, we are left to the same issues as they were. In simple terms, we are left to the reality. What the Dangote refinery will do at the end of the day is basically to eliminate the cost of transportation in terms if we were to import it. But it should be understood that it is a private refinery. They are not obligated as a private business to sell at the cheapest price. They are obligated to sell at a price that will take care of their shareholders. That's also another important factor that has not been considered. And to that extent, they may not even be cheaper than imported products. So what has just basically happened was the kind of information that Nigerians were fed with. They were not fed with information that actually was a proper balance of the issues. And, once you are not dealing with truths at a point in time, the truth will come to speak. So that's basically what has happened in the case of the Dangote refinery.
So before I go to Mr. Oke, I'd like to just, follow up on that a bit. That's a difficult pill to swallow, and the explanations are not necessarily adding up, particularly when you think about the fact that, the cost of importation has been eliminated. Port charges, according to analysis of some experts, has also been eliminated. That's on the one hand. And on the other hand, some energy marketers just about 2 weeks ago announced also that the landing cost of petrol has reduced. And, of course, there's also that factor of the reducing, in recent times, cost of crude oil in the international market. And when cost of crude oil reduces, that also impacts on the cost of refined petrol. So why is it not the same for Nigeria?
Okay, so you brought up a number of factors, and they are very valid factors. But you see, the devil is in the details. Until somebody just sits down and actually do the math and look at the cost component. Because yes, they say the cost of transportation in importation that is reduced. It's not importation itself. It's not the cost of importation per se that's reduced. It's the cost of the transportation. It will be eliminated by the refinery. However, what if the refinery is not being operated optimally? And you don't know the cost of operations or the cost of refining locally may even be higher than the cost of refining abroad. There are many factors that are there. So it's not just enough to highlight these factors. You still have to put the figures into these factors and see how the numbers fall. It is only then only then that you can actually say this thing should be cheaper, this thing should be more expensive. Another important thing is that people seem to forget that the Dangote refinery have not actually said, they've not made it public in terms of how much they are really selling their product. The NNPC has at the time mentioned how much they bought from them, and Dangote said that was not the price. So until you have an idea of how much they are really pushing it out, before you now be able to actually do a proper comparison with what is coming in from outside the country. But the truth be told, this is where the real issues are, is that it's a private business, and the costs, these costs are things that are largely determined by their own internal metrics, not necessarily by populist views. And that there needs to be a balance there in terms of Nigeria's expectations.